let's go ahead and talk about the cover letter. Most of what I've got to say jives with Markle's take on the cover letter, although I think mine is just maybe a little bit simpler, but with a few more thank yous. Certainly, you want to pay attention to the way this address is done. Okay, so you want to have your address at the top. All right, you want to have the date, and then you want to have the receiver's address. Okay, then you want to have your greeting. Okay, and you got your colon here at the end of the greeting. I want you to notice that this is done in letter format, so all of this is single spaced, right? And then you've got a full space between the dates and the addresses, and you got a full space. Between each of the paragraphs, and then there is a digital signature here at the bottom, and this says enclosure, indicating that the resume is there, which has also been addressed in the conclusion paragraph. So, what do we do in a cover letter? First of all, let me tell you what you do not do. You do not talk about anything in a cover letter that does not show up in your resume. Cover letter is a preview of your resume, but it's not so cold and distant and regimented. It's a place for you to talk in prose, talk like a person, not informally, but you get to round out some of the things that are going to come up in your resume so that they can see you more as a person than just a bunch of a lot of credentials on paper. So in the opening paragraph, you want to thank the reader for reading your letter or for taking a look at your resume, right? Don't say considering me for this position because you don't know that they're doing that. Tell them what position you're applying for, right? This is why you're writing, and then give them a sentence that says, because of my experience and my skills, whatever it is that you're going to talk about in that cover letter that is also in your resume, these things, I believe they make me a good candidate for this position at your company, right? And truly, I mean, it's both about why the position is good for you and why you're good for them, but you're selling yourself to them. So let's focus on why you're good for them. So whatever those things were that you just said in that last sentence of the first paragraph, right? Those are the things that you're going to talk about in the body of your cover letter. I normally get it done in one paragraph because I want to make sure that this doesn't ever go beyond a page. They've gone into two. That's okay. Generally, keeping it about half to 3/4 of a page is a pretty good rule. Never over a page unless it's like an academic cover letter, right? Unless you're like applying to a school. So you talk about like whatever education that you said, education you said you got in that sentence, right? You want to open that up and say, during my education, I did this, and then connect that to whatever the employer needs, right? That makes me good. That gave me this kind of skill, which I can use to do this for your company, right? And then you'll talk about the experience that you had, right? That whatever other thing that you listed in this last sentence in the introduction, and you'll say that gave me an opportunity to do this, and I gained this skill, which I can apply at your company when we do this, right? And you'll touch on 2 or 3 of those things in that paragraph, and then you're going to come out and you're going to say thank you again for reading my materials. I have enclosed a resume. In this example, the person asks to speak further with the employer about the position. I think that's a little much. You also don't want to say I look forward to speaking with you soon. You don't want to assume that they're going to contact you and say like something like, I hope to speak with you soon. I hope to hear from you. And so make it evident that you are interested in that, but not an outright question, and don't outright assume. And then finally, you can leave some of your information here, your phone number and address, and you can also have those underneath your printed name here in your conclusion, in your signature, which I always keep those in the signature too, because I think that makes the signature look that much more professional. Before I close this out, I just want to address the issue of professional branding. So you may find, and this is normally something like for me that I see it more like across different venues online, right? You may have a professional website, and then you may have a YouTube channel, and then you may have an online resume. And with each one of these documents, you may have chosen like a particular picture of yourself, right? Or a logo or a particular company name that you like to apply to all of them. You can understand this would work less so with the resume. Although with new kinds of resumes that people are making these days, with making them in the online environment, and new kinds of templates, new kinds of designs, people are including photos in their resumes now. I don't personally consider that a good idea to do that, but maybe I need to get with the times, but the resume is a place to consider using your branding. But the idea is you create a pattern across multiple different presentations of yourself in different places, whether it's a verbal phrase, whether it's an image, and it could be a combination of these, maybe in some kind of logo, so that when somebody sees it one place, they think about the different other places that they've seen you, and you've kind of got this network of connections in their head, and it just helps to sell your brand that much more. Okay, so if there are any questions about the resume assignment, please get with me about that. Okay, so the resume preferences business as usual article. I think this is particularly interesting because it shows you through a study and through a particular instance of technical writing that there are certain expectations and certain trends that occur in each sector of employment. I want you to understand from reading this article how important it is to go do extra research beyond just like the co-op office beyond cooperative education, right? Beyond the technical writing course, right? Go and do your own research in your own field, because that's where you're going to find the most enlightening information about how best to apply for a position and what employers are looking for and what's happening in those rooms when there are committees. For example, in my situation, there are these academic committees that are looking at my CV, right? And they're looking at my teaching statements together, and they're having all these debates about, should we hire this person, should we not hire this person. I want to know what goes on in those rooms so that I know how to approach those committees, right? I want to know what my audience is. I want to know what they're looking for. Okay, so that's everything that I've got for this week. Just get with me via Canvas Messenger if you have any questions, and we'll have a Zoom meeting, or I'll just handle the question in the Messenger.